gorgeous. Listen, I don't know why, as soon as I hit record, I always giggle. I just feel like here I am actually living a dream. The dream is being able to help you. Like, this is something I wanted. But anyway, I'm ready to go in a whole nother direction. Let me bring it back. Hello, gorgeous, and welcome. So, today's episode, we are going to be talking about stress and its impact on your body. The impact stress has on your body and perimenopausal symptoms, and of course, belly fat. But before we get into that, could you do your girl a favor, please? You're here because you're, of course, a woman over 40, a woman over 40 going through perimenopause, and you don't understand what's going on. So you're listening this episode and you've listened to previous episodes and you found them helpful. To help my podcast to reach other women like yourself, can you please rate and review in the app? Please, that would mean so much to me. So, if you're new here, welcome. I am Trudie German, Perimenopausal wellness coach and the host of this podcast, Empowering Women in Perimenopause. If you are returning, welcome back, girl. Welcome back. Thank you for returning. So each podcast episode that I record, that I focus on, it's based on conversations I having or I've had usually in my DM on Instagram because I'm very active there. And if you're not following me, go ahead and follow Trade with Trudie, Trudie. And something I noticed, and I've wanted to record this podcast episode for a while, but it's been taking a while, but nevertheless, here I am. Is so many women are complaining about their different perimenopausal symptoms. They're complaining, they're doing all of this. And of course, the top three symptoms that women complain to me about is feeling tired or lethargic, um, lack of sleep. Either they can't fall asleep at night. When they fall asleep, they can't stay asleep, or they'll fall asleep and wake up a few hours later, toss and turn. And then when it's time to get up, that's when they want to sleep and they feel like crap throughout the day. 3 p.m. hits, they have that, they feel like they've hit a wall, they gotta reach for the caffeine rush, and then they have problems sleeping at night, and the cycle continues. And then the third one is belly fat. No matter what they're doing, what's going on, they can't lose the belly fat. They're even doing things that worked 10, 15, 20 years ago, which could be dieting and all those things, but it doesn't seem to be working. No, I'm at a stage now where when I work with women, and if I'm going to be helping you, I'm not interested in treating the symptom. That's a band-aid. So if you're having these issues, what is going on, right? What's causing you to have difficulties falling asleep? And if you're not, if when your head hit that pillow, you're not asleep within 10 minutes, that's a problem, right? Your body is going through something. If you fall asleep within the 10 minutes, but 2, 3 hours later, you're up again, tossing and turning, that's another issue. So, something I've realized when I start probing further, and even when I started experiencing some of these issues myself, was the problem, the culprit was stress. And this is something we don't think about. And when I record these podcast episodes and I'm talking to you ladies and I'm giving you information, please don't ever think that I'm blaming you. Please don't ever think that I'm talking at you. I'm talking in my, as far as I'm concerned, I'm talking with you because I am a woman over 40 who have experienced a lot of these issues. And when I started learning and understanding it more, I was kind of ticked up myself, like, how am I in the fitness space? And I wasn't aware of this. But you don't know what you don't know, right? And a lot of you ladies may not be aware of these things because, one, Who's teaching you? Who's out there teaching you about your body? Not many people. And the sad reality is, most doctors aren't even trained. So at this stage, it is up to us to learn about our bodies. So, in this podcast episode, I'll give you what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to define stress because I love to define things just to make sure we are on the same accord. Going to talk about the different types of stress, what causes stress, and the impact it has on your body in terms of sleep, nutrition, all of that. All right, so let's jump into this. All right, so what is stress? It's one of those things where you're like, how's she going to define stress, right? So, stress, it happens to every one of us. At some point, we have experienced stress. Heck, you're probably listening to this and feeling stressed. It is a natural human reaction to perceived threat. Now, it's caused by chemical and hormones surging throughout your body, and it may help you respond to particular problems. Now, let me pause right there. So, perceived threats. Let me go a bit further. Not all stress are bad stress. I know when we hear stress, we automatically think bad. Not all stress is bad stress, even though the definition included perceived threat. So let's talk about bad stress and good stress. Bad stress, you got fired. Bad stress, you got laid off. You got in a car accident. Bad stress, what else? There's so many. Um, you're getting divorced, right? Bad stress is anything bad. But then there's also good stress. You got a promotion at work. You got a new car. Your child got accepted into their college or university of their dreams. Um, you're celebrating someone getting married. You're celebrating a birthday party, right? And stress isn't a bad thing. Stress, as I mentioned, it can be bad and it can be good. Now, there are two different types of stress. There's acute stress and there's chronic stress. So acute stress is short term and that comes and goes real quick. For example, um, you're out on a walk and you see a dog that a dog doesn't that's not on their leash. You get nervous instantly. But then within a few minutes, you're back to normal. That's acute stress. You're driving on the street, you swerve to avoid getting into an accident. If you've ever done that, you notice how your heart rate speeds up real fast. But then in a few minutes, it's back to normal, right? Then you have chronic stress, which is long term stress that goes on for days, weeks, months, and years. And this is the one that really wreaks havoc on our body, and that I'm going to be talking more about. So when you experience chronic stress, it triggers your fight or flight response, right? This can be good, this can be bad. Remember, when you're stressed quickly, and then you go back to normal, that's completely okay. The problem is when our bodies remain in a constant state of stress, and that may be because of our environment, you know, going through a divorce, got a new promotion at work, looking for another job, preparing for your children or child to go away for school, financial difficulties. And the next thing is, so many women, so many of you, so many of us are stressed and in a constant state of stress that we do not even realize it because it's quote unquote normal to you. For example, I have a few clients that I'm working with right now in my program, Thrive, Transform, and Glow through Perimenopause. And you can definitely click the link in the show notes to schedule your call because the next session starts September 30th. So definitely come on over. And when we started working together, they did not realize how stressed they were because it was so normal. It's, in our weekly coaching calls, where they were telling me things that were happening outside. And I'm like, okay, but you realize this is stress. They did not even know it. And then when I started giving them tips and techniques, quick tips and techniques, nothing that they had to spend an hour a day working on, they realized, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. I feel so much calmer. And I think that type of stress is even worse because you don't know. You're just going on autopilot and you're thinking, this is normal, this is okay, because you're so accustomed to it. And at this stage during perimenopause, our bodies, your body, cannot and do not handle stress the same way it did 20 years ago, right? Because your hormones are tired. It's kind of like I have a 1 liter bottle of water here on my desk and I'm holding it. It's kind of like me holding this bottle of water for 5 minutes. It's okay, it's not a problem if I hold it for 5 minutes. But if I hold it for 5 hours, for 5 days, it gets heavier. 5 weeks, it gets heavier. 5 years, it gets heavier, right? So, because our hormones are changing so much, we cannot and do not handle stress the same way. And that's part of the reason why you're like, I'm doing the same things that I was doing 5, 10 years ago. My schedule's the same, but it's just I'm consistently tired because your body is burnt out, because you're in a chronic state of stress, because your body's like, girl, you have been neglecting me. Your hormones are tired. Your hormones can't function. So now nothing's working. And they're begging you, they're crying out, I need you to take care of me. I need you to stop doing those things that you think is quote unquote normal because those things are the things that's really screwing up your body. It's what's causing the increasing belly fat, regardless of what you may doing, causing you to have low energy, to feel like crap. So now that we've established what those are, let's touch on how stress affects your body. Let's talk about nutrition because we don't realize how important nutrition is to our bodies, not or how stress affects nutrition. When we are functioning properly, when our body is not in a chronic stress mode, right? Our bodies, we can easily break down and absorb nutrients our body needs. And when I'm talking about nutrients, I'm not only talking about our macros like protein, carbs, and fat. Those are important. But I'm also talking about how our bodies break down, absorb, and process vitamins and minerals, which are very important. So if you're in a constant state of stress, it doesn't matter how healthy you're eating, your body is unable to absorb the nutrients. So therefore you're going to feel tired because you can't absorb the nutrients and you're like, how comes I'm eating clean where everyone says this I'm supposed to be eating and it gives me energy? You're more inclined to get sick because once again, your immune system is weakened because your body cannot break down, process, and absorb the nutrients from the foods you're eating. And I know I keep repeating this because repetition is important. I want you to understand it. I want you to understand that it's not just, oh, I'm stressed and carry on. Because if you don't address the stress, the perimenopausal symptoms, whichever ones you have, they're going to get worse. They're going to continue, right? So I'm doing my best here to help you. So please make sure you're listening, you're taking notes, and you're implementing them. So that is one thing that happens. And if you don't have enough nutrients, if you can't break down, process, and absorb the nutrients, you cannot sleep properly at night. If you cannot sleep properly at night, your body cannot process your body, when you sleep, this is where your body builds and repair. It cannot do that because you're waking up, because you don't have any energy. When you don't get enough sleep, you also don't have enough energy. When you don't have enough energy, you cannot work out. When you do not have enough energy, you start looking for quick fixes like caffeine to give you energy. When you're not when your body's not absorbing the the nutrients you need and you're living off caffeine, you're also wearing your body down. Do you see the ricochet effect it's having here, right? So when you don't get enough sleep, your hormones are also thrown out of balance the next day. The hormones that tell your body it's full, that's thrown out. The ones that tell you you're hungry, that's thrown out. And now you're trying to eat to get full, and probably you're having more of the unhealthy foods, right? So definitely pay attention to your stress levels. And this is how stress affects your nutrition throughout with perimenopause. So when I'm talking about stress, I don't want to talk about it only as belly fat because I know that's something that's important to you. But if you're experiencing hot flashes, if you're experiencing moodiness, anxiety, brain fog, stress, if you're getting sick regularly, stress is the root cause of this. I'm trying to get you to understand. The next thing with what stress does to your body is if you're in a chronic state of stress, digestion is thrown out of whack. This is something we don't realize. I want you to think about it. When you're stressed, right, your smooth muscles, sorry, your skeletal muscles like your shoulders, those are tensed, right? You're probably walking around tense if you realize. Depending on how long you may be stressed, you may not even realize it. But if those muscles are stressed, what do you think is happening to the muscles in your digestive system? Those are also stressed. If those muscles are stressed and you're eating and the food cannot be digested properly because you're stressed, now you're bloated. So sometimes it's do you have belly fat or you're simply bloated and you're bloated because of the stress. But because you're consistently stressed and consistently bloated, you think it's belly fat, right? That is one thing. Another thing is as I mentioned, stress affects how your foods are broken down, and this may also lead to you experiencing heartburn or bloat or even constipation. So many women at this stage are experiencing constipation. You need to be having bowel movements regularly. You need to be having elimination at least once a day. This is another way to get rid of excess hormones running around in your body. If you're stressed and you're not going to the bathroom, having a bowel movement regularly, the hormones that are supposed to be leaving your body is now staying in your body and wreaking havoc on your body, right? Another thing is when you're eating, if you can't break down the foods that you're eating, your recovery will be affected, right? So I need you to understand how stress is affecting you during perimenopause. So when you're not stressed and your body, when you're not in chronic stress and your body is in a rest and digestion state, what's supposed to happen is blood flow and oxygen and nutrients is supposed to flow towards your gut. When you're stressed, it's taking it away, taking it to the opposite direction. This is where you may experience IBS. This is where you may also experience cramping, some sort of inflammation, or as I mentioned before, bloat and digestion. Now, I hope you're seeing how stress can impact your body. And the thing with stress is the reality is if you're stressed in one aspect of your life, it is going to have a ricochet effect on other aspects. So if you're stressed at work, that's going to affect you at home. If you're stressed in your finances, it's going to affect your relationship with your partner, your relationship with your friends. It's going to give you sleepless nights. I've been there before. You're just going to be stressed overall. And I'm not saying that stress doesn't happen, life doesn't happen. I'm not telling you that. I am telling you, you need to be aware of your stress and you need tips on a regular basis to get you out of it. And of course, I'm going to share some of those with you because this is the first, when women work with me, the first, honestly, 4 to 6 weeks, this is priority number one. Yes, they want to lose weight, they do lose a few inches off their stomach. However, as their coach, as your coach, it is my job to get you out of stress mode because if you're still in stress mode, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're not going to see the results, right? So, as I mentioned in the a few minutes ago, if you're stressed, your body can't digest the food properly. If you're stressed, your nutrition is going to be affected because you can't break it down and you can't absorb it. So now let's talk about how stress impacts belly fat. When women come to me, right, I like knowing what they've been doing, um, to try to help themselves. And I'm going to tell you some of the things that they have been doing, and you may also be doing this. Intermittent fasting, HIIT, so high intensity interval training, um, working out 6, sometimes 7 days a week, right? These may be fine and dandy. You may see your favorite fitness influencer on the gram promoting this and pushing this. And heck, this may even have worked for you 10, 15, 20 years ago. All of these, the intermittent fasting, the high intensity interval, the working out 6, 7 days a week, those are adding stress to your body and making you gain belly fat instead of losing it. So if you're like, how comes, intermittent fasting, not eating for 12 hours and eating 12 hours? 10 years ago, I did it, and within 6 weeks, I lost the 20 pounds. How comes I was able to do hits so often? Because I then, and not see results. I have women telling me, I'm lifting weights 4, 6 times a week, and I'm gaining belly fat instead of losing it. That is because your body is already in a chronic stress mode, and these things that you are doing is adding stress, adding more stress to your body. And you probably notice most of the weight is going towards your stomach. As I mentioned in a previous episode, the one where we spoke about cortisol, I'm going to link it below, is as we get older, our stomach has more cortisol receptors. So when we're stressed, our cortisol level, which is the stress hormone, is high and running around in our bodies. And because they have more receptors, kind of like, so look at cortisol as the lock, and look at, you know what? Let's not use the lock and key. Let's use the bees. I don't know why I got this visual. Let's look at the bees and probably the net. So cortisol is the bees. There's a bunch of them running around, and the receptors is the net. So it's like the net is your stomach, the cortisol receptors, it's going to take in more of them. So that's why at this stage you find, hey, I'm doing all the things that were working before and it's no longer working. Another thing that happens is everything in your body works. It doesn't matter how they may seem separate, they work together. Hormones are similar. So if one hormone isn't in alignment, all your other hormones are going to be misaligned. So when cortisol levels are up, what's also happening is estrogen levels drop even further. And I am going to do another episode where I talk more about estrogen. Estrogen helps to build fat, sorry, to build muscles, helps to build fat. Oh, sorry, sorry. Estrogen helps to build muscles. So if the hormone that is responsible for building muscles is dropping, what do you think is going to happen? More fat, right? So once as a cortisol goes up because you're in a constant stage, estrogen is going to go down, and then more fat is going to be stored. So if you're doing intermittent fasting, if you're doing HIIT, if you're working out multi 4, 6 times a week and you're not seeing results, I would suggest you honestly start eating more, lay off the hit, and of course cut down on your workout because all that intensity is adding stress to your body. Now you're like, girl, you just tell me all these things that I shouldn't be doing and all the different types of stress, but how can I manage stress? One of the things that I highly suggest that you do, first of all, take inventory. What are the things or who are the people that are stressing you? I completely get it. Your job may be stressful. You can't get away from your job. That's fine. I get it. You have bills to pay. But how about when was the last time you did something for you? Another, we also encounter stress and stay in a chronic stress when we're not making time to do things that we enjoy. I don't know about you, but if I don't schedule things in my calendar, it doesn't happen. I make sure to schedule fun on a regular, things that I enjoy doing that may not, that's not work related, right? I love working out. I do that a few times a week. I love going down by the lake and walking. I do that a few times a week. I love connecting with my nephews, my friends. I do that on a regular. You have to find time to do things that you enjoy. And it doesn't matter how busy you are. What's the point of doing all these things if you're consistently feeling like crap? What's the point of doing all these things if you can't enjoy them because you're always so tired, right? So please make time. Don't find the time. You're not going to find the time. You have to make the time for fun. Make time to do things that you want. And when clients work with me, one of the things that I also have them do, throughout the days, little things they're grateful for. I know it sounds silly. You don't have to write them down. You can say them out loud. When you start expressing gratitude, then it really does make a difference. I want you to start implementing those things. Do them, start off 3 times a day for 1 week. And please message me after how you're feeling. I promise you, you're gonna start feeling lighter. And even if you didn't know you were stressed, you're definitely gonna start being like, oh, how comes I'm feeling like this? Right? So I hope you definitely found value in this podcast episode. And I am going to be recording and releasing one shortly on estrogen because that's another culprit that I want you to learn more about. And hey, as I mentioned before, if you are consistently tired, if you are feeling moody, you don't understand your body, you're tired of feeling tired, tired of feeling sick and tired of trying it your way to lose belly fat and it's not happening, click the link in the show notes and schedule your call. We start on September 30th. Schedule your free 15-minute call, to see how, if we're a good fit and we can take it from there. And you're like, girl, you give so much information. Why should I come and work with you? Because you're going through a lot, and I'm also giving you a lot of information, a lot of tips between here and Instagram if you follow me on there. And you're probably like, girl, this is a lot. I don't know where to start, what to do. And this is where I simplify it. This is where I work with you to evaluate what's really going on, and then I start assisting you. So definitely click the link below and please make sure to subscribe. All right. Have a safe and fabulous one.